got y'all about the best spot I can get. I got this cleaned up. Take our little rag out. That's just to keep any gasket material that I scraped off from going in there. Now these gaskets, I probably wouldn't have had to use any sealer on them or any, I normally would not on any of these. Like I said before, I'm not crazy about this gasket, so I went ahead and coated it with stuff. The sucky thing about this is, you know, it probably won't leak, but if I ever have to tear into this thing again, it's gonna be a mess to clean up. Gasket stuff just makes it so much harder to clean up if you have to go back in here again. I inspected my water pump really well, and I think it's in okay shape. So it doesn't appear to have any slop in it or anything, or to be leaking. So I did not get a new one. It was like $63 for a new one. So I did not get a new one. So we've got our gear back on our water pump. And this is this bolt I think goes into, it may go into a coolant passage. I went ahead and put some stuff on it. I'll put some stuff on it and some stuff on this one. And maybe that one. Shoot, I'll probably just throw some on all of them. It's not going to hurt. I have to turn that a little bit. It's all the way up. It's not quite all the way up. And I think we're going to be better off putting the gasket on the water pump first. It's not wanting to go around this part of the water pump. Looks like they cut the hole out just a little bit small. Let me take my razor blade, use that to help push it down. Stuff like that, you know, that kind of makes this gasket set. And around all the studs, what should I call it? Not the studs, but the little stick out the, yeah. So we've got two different links here. I think the long ones went right there. The long ones went in the, I think they went in the bottom. We're gonna put some, oh, they actually go on with the cover though. Go ahead and put some stuff on there just in case they go into a water passage. They look pretty dry. I don't think they did. There was two rusty ones, and I'm gonna bet that this one was rusty. Of course, we know that was leaking, and I'm gonna bet the other rusty one was probably right here. No, couldn't have been right there because that one didn't go there. Let's see, didn't go right there. I don't know. Let's see. Seeing the depth. We'll figure it out. I feel better knowing there's a little on the threads. You know, just like that. Probably, I'm fairly certain, I'd say. I'm fairly certain. 75% certain. I'd say 90% certain that you probably don't need it there, but I'm going to put it there anyway. I mean, the gaskets, they fit okay. They just look awful. I don't know. You were doing this job for somebody else, or if somebody was doing this job for somebody else, they'd probably, if they didn't care like I care. Of course, if I was doing this job for somebody else, I would care. But if somebody else is doing this job for somebody else and they didn't care, they probably would not care about those gaskets. This one, let's see. This bolt is shorter than this one. That one's got to go right here. Yep, that one's good. That one goes there. Let's see. I kind of think the two longer ones were together. That one goes there. I don't. I had them still in the cover before I cleaned the gasket material off. We got a big bolt that goes right here. So we remembered to put the gear on, and it was in its slot. Got all the gaskets on. Just going through a mental checklist here, where I get it bolted all back together. Alright. What bolt went in there? This looks... Yep, there it is. Peace of mind. Definitely won't hurt anything. Actually probably help keep them from kind of seizing up in there. Alright, I need to go grab a 10mm, and I'm going to tighten these up, and then I'm going to go ahead and tighten the bottom motor mount bolts and put the oil drain plug back in. I've not done that yet. I guess we can go ahead and do that real quick. And I need to tighten the spark plugs back in, tighten up all the coolant hoses, and let's see. Then we might be ready to start this thing up. I'm going to start it up before I put the, I'm going to put oil in it and start it up before I get the converter and all that stuff back on it. Because if we're blowing oil or coolant out somewhere, I don't want to put it all, have it all back together and discover that. And we can run it just like this. Oh, we got our, almost forgot, we got to take these two bolts off and put our dipstick back in. I forgot the dipstick. I guess I was letting that gasket material tack up just a little, or that gasket sealer tack up just a little bit before I tighten down that water pump, but I guess I can go ahead and tighten it down. I'm trying to multitask. I'm only working on one thing at a time. So I guess that's not multitasking. Hey, I am multitasking. I'm making a video and narrating a video and working. Is that kind of multitasking? Guess not. Let's see. Yeah, maybe I was too harsh on these gaskets. I guess they're all right. For not much more, I could have gotten just the gaskets I needed. OEM. Problem was I was having trouble finding them, and this is what led me to the aftermarket gaskets. I was having trouble finding them anywhere except like a bike shop, like a Kawasaki place, or you know, I could find them online for, you know, definitely. I mean, I was finding them online, but they were from, you know, bike places, and most of them you either had to pay shipping or they'd give you free shipping if you spent like $100. And you know, I started adding up, throwing stuff in my cart, you know, like all these gaskets, and I'm like, well, what else could I need? And just basically trying to get to $100, get free shipping, because you would think those gaskets, they could ship them for a couple bucks, but no, pretty much everywhere, you know, like $12 shipping for a couple gaskets. I mean, it's ridiculous. So I was trying to get like to $100. I'm like, this is ridiculous. You know, I'm buying probably stuff I don't need just to get to $100, and I was like, I'll just buy the because I started looking at the camshaft stuff, and I was like, well, I could take the cover off and see if the camshaft was plastic, and if it is plastic, you know, I could go ahead and put the steel one in, you know, replace the camshaft. So I started adding all that stuff to my cart, and before you know it, I'm like at $250. I'm like, hold up, let's take a step back. And that was when I was like, I started looking around for aftermarket gaskets, and this seemed to be really the only one I could find. Problem is, this Mule's getting kind of old. You can find more aftermarket stuff with the newer ones, but this one's a 98, so maybe some of the suppliers have stopped making a lot of aftermarket stuff for these things. But they use this engine, you know, up into the 2000s. I think 2007, or I don't know when they stopped using it. In the 2000s, I think it might have even been an engine option in like the 3010 maybe, or the 4010. I don't know. One of the newer ones. But and I'm holding the ratchet right here just so I don't over torque these. They're small fasteners. But anyway, so I was like, well, I'll give the aftermarket gaskets a shot. You know, I've never had an issue with it. Never really had an issue with aftermarket gaskets. And like I said, maybe I'm just being harsh on these. Hold off on that. Did I get this top one? I think I did. Yeah. So I got this whole gasket set for $14. I think I paid $2 shipping on it, which, and it was on eBay, which to me, I mean, that definitely seems reasonable on the shipping and everything. I mean, this hose was a tight fit before. It was running on top of this. I think it definitely was supposed to meant to be below this hose. It definitely fits better that way. So someone's had that off before. I think it was definitely supposed to be under. I need to tighten that clamp, or slide that clamp down. use these. Okay. So, alright, back. Answer a phone call. Cleaning up the dipstick. I think there's supposed to be an O-ring. Oh, there is. There's one right there. So, I'm going to put a dab of silicone. Since I don't have a new O-ring. Well, it looks like I only had to take one of those bolts off. There's only one that holds this thing on. So taking that bottom one off was unnecessary, but we did it anyway. Guess I should have looked at this thing before I took the bolts off. I'm gonna run these up real quick. Don't y'all hate when that happens? I need to move this pan, I guess. I took my gloves off and answered my phone. Yeah, we're gonna slide this bucket or slide this pan out of the way. We don't need it there anymore. Should have moved it long ago. After I get this on there, that'll be everything tightened up where I put gasket sealer. I think I'll go inside and eat lunch. Let that stuff set up a little while before I go to put oil in it. How y'all like the soundtrack to this video? You can have your own soundtrack for, well, probably like $10. Come get a rooster. We got too many. $10. Needs a good home. All right, got those tight. I'm gonna go inside, eat lunch, and then we'll come back and, or I'll come back, and we'll continue on.